Welcome trio. Today we're going to go over solving quadratic equations. Quadratic equation is when the leading exponent or the highest exponent is x squared in the equation, and this is one such problem. So we have negative 1/3 x squared plus 1/3 x plus 10 equals 6. We want to solve this because it's an equation. So let's set it equal to 0. We get negative 1/3 x squared plus 1/3 x plus 4 equals 0. If I minus the 6, I get 10 minus 6 is 4. Now, because we have these fractions, we want to multiply by the LCD. The LCD would be 3, but we also don't want to have the leading coefficient to be negative, so I'm going to multiply by negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 1/3 x squared plus 1/3 x plus 4 equals 0. Multiply the whole equation by negative 3, we get x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. Now, this is a prettier equation compared to this one. And this one we can factor. We want to do the product and sum. So x and x gives us x squared. What times what gives you a negative 12 and add up to a negative 1. That would just be negative 4 and positive 3. Now we use the 0 property and solve this. X minus 4 equals 0, or x plus 3 equals 0, x equals 4, or x equals negative 3. This problem is done. I'll be back with another example. Welcome back. Here's another example for solving quadratic equations. Here we have the highest exponent being a square, so we want to set this equation equal to 0. We'll move everything to the left, and we get 2x squared minus 8x minus 5x plus 20 equals 0. Now, combining like terms, we get 2x squared minus 13x plus 20 equals 0. So now we want to factor this, but we have a leading coefficient here. So what we can do is say, since this leading coefficient is a prime number, we know we only have one choice, 2x and x equals 0. So now we just have to worry about how we're going to get product of 20 and a sum of 13. Well, 20 is 4 and 5, but if I multiply the 2 times the 4, that gives me 8. 8 and 5 will give me a 13. So this can be 2x minus 5, x minus 4. This one times this one will give me 8x. Negative 8x and a negative 5x is a negative 13x. So now we can use the 0 property rule and say 2x minus 5 equals 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. Solving, 2x equals 5. 2x divided by 2 equals 5 divided by 2. X equals 5/2. Add 4. x equals 4. So x equals 5/2 or 4. This is the answer. Another way of writing the answer is with solution set notation. If you have more than one answer, you usually put it inside the solution set. I'll be back with one more example. Thank you. Okay, I'm back with our final example for solving quadratic equations. Easy quadratic equations, even though they might look scary with fractions. If we have fractions, we should multiply by the LCD. And the LCD here is 6. So I'm going to multiply by 6. 6 times the whole equation. Notice the 2 and the 3 make 6, and we have a 6 here, so the LCD is 6. Half of 6 is 3. A third of 6 is 2. 6 and 6 cancel, that gives us 5x. Again, we have a quadratic equation because the highest exponent is x squared. We should set it equal to 0. 3x squared minus 5x plus 2 equals 0. Here again, the leading coefficient is a prime number. So we have only one option when factoring: 3x and x. Now, let's see. 2 is also prime, so we only have one option here, 2 and 1. We want 3 times a -2 gives us a -6. So -2 and a +1 gives us 6x. -6x plus 1x gives you -5x. Now we can use the zero property, solve this. 3x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 2 equals 0. 3x equals -1. And then we have 3x divided by 3 equals -1 divided by 3. X equals -1/3. Add the 2. X equals 2. So x equals -1/3, or x equals 2. We're done. That's it for solving quadratic equations. Go Trio!